Welcome everyone to my presentation on improvisational dance interventions for self-esteem in adolescence. My name is Mytisha Leach and I will be presenting this topic with you today. Self-esteem reflects an individual's overall emotional evaluation with a sense of personal value. Self-esteem develops during childhood and increases throughout adolescence and adulthood. In some adolescents, though, self-esteem is lowered or stays low as they go through this developmental stage. Again, adolescence period is a developmental stage where personality, habits, cognitive aspects are formed through experiences. Some factors that could actually influence self-esteem in adolescence could be mental disorders like depression and anxiety, family challenges, peer support, self-image, and stress. Adolescents seek out different experiences, positive relationships, and extracurricular activities to increase their self-esteem and let them live an optimistic life as they transition to adulthood. Healthy self-esteem in adolescence supports well-being and positive outlook for future experiences. So now let's define improvisation dance and dance in general. So dance is an art form which uses the body and movement for creative expression, improving sensory awareness and personal development. Improvisation dance is a very interesting type of dance style to study. Improvisation dance is the act of creating new movement without thinking, allows the dancers to live in the present moment instead of the future and the past. It's right there and right now. Improvisation is a common practice being taught in dance education now. This provides a non-judgmental environment, allows dancers to move freely and understand their presence in the space through improvisation dance. So it's a very unique and out there style that would actually be beneficial for anybody's well-being. So when searching in the research box, when I was trying to find articles for improvisational dance and self-esteem or improvisational dance with adolescents, I noticed there wasn't much research on this topic. So this is what got my interest in studying this topic, and it showed some gap in research and how improvisational dance could be used for self-esteem in adolescence. And I love dance and I love improvisational dance, so why not do this as a research topic? So some problems that I incurred throughout the research was that home environments can influence a self-esteem. So that could be like a lack of social support, challenges in family can impact self-esteem in adolescence. Family challenges can include divorced parents, foster care, death of a parent, abuse, or unhealthy relationship between parents and adolescents. So this is why this has to be studied, because we need to try to boost self-esteem and not have such low self-esteem because of these external factors that can occur. Another huge thing is addressing self-esteem. So society has a direct negative impact on adolescent self-esteem. Addressing self-esteem in adolescence is important because self-esteem sets the stage of one's whole life. So there can be times where self-esteem in high school really doesn't matter to teachers or parents. All they really think about is the grades and how the teachers are teaching them, but addressing self-esteem at an early age can be very beneficial for their whole well-being. And then there's also a mental health crisis. Like low self-esteem during adolescence can cause emotional and mental implications. So like adolescents are more likely to have depression, if high risk for stress, abuse, neglect, physical or emotional trauma from peers, or loss of relationships. So mental health deficits among adolescents are higher now also than evidence has shown in the decades. So low self-esteem is not observed until mental deficits arise. So we should try to do that beforehand to try to prevent these types of crises happening. So now I want to explain the process to my research question. Now through the lit reviews, I noticed 3 separate topics that are on the slide. So based on the studies I've read about relationship challenges, it showed external factors like social support and family issues influence self-esteem negatively in adolescence. Based on studies that I read about mental health disorders like depression, anxiety, or withdrawn behaviors has a significant relationship with having low self-esteem. And based on studies that I read about dance actually presents a positive influence on an individual's self-esteem, so it improved it mostly. So this brought to my research question: what is the impact of an engagement in improvisational dance on self-esteem for adolescents? So here's an overview of how I would put my experiment together. So I would go through experimental research design where experimental group will engage in improvisation dance intervention and the control group will take part in their regular routine every day during that 1 hour session. Intervention will be 2 times a week for a duration of a 12 weeks study. Consent forms will be obtained from the participants' parents. The age for the adolescents would be between 14 to 17 years old who self-identify as low self-esteem. And then this will be through voluntary basis methods. So I would go to classrooms or hang up flyers and they would volunteer to come. How I would assess self-esteem would be through the Rosenberg self-esteem scale. Confidentiality will be obtained by assigning participants colors. And for my data, I'll be analyzing between relationships of gender, ages, of course, the relationship between improvisation dance and self-esteem, and also be looking at external factors. Now, here are my references. Thanks for listening.